Welcome to Design Domination, where you'll learn to become a better, more business-savvy designer so you can dominate your competition. Hi, and thanks for tuning in. I'm Colleen Grotzer, and in this creative brief episode, I talk about 18 things to check before preparing design proofs. Now, I just had to do an episode about this because it is a sad reality that most designers do not check their work. Clients don't want to babysit designers, and by babysit, I mean point out issues that the designer didn't notice as a result of not checking their work before sending them a proof. That's certainly embarrassing, and I'm sure you don't want to feel like anyone is looking over your shoulder either. I mean, if you're trying to come across as an expert, should someone have to tell you that, you missed a spot in some Photoshop work, or that you left out a chunk of text in the layout? If you're trying to come across as an expert, you've got to pay attention to the details. Clients shouldn't have to tell you to do that, and they might choose not to work with you if they have to. They need an expert, not someone else to manage. So let's fix that. Here are 18 things to check for before preparing design proofs. So the first set of checks are all about the design. So in checking the design, you want to look for, number 1, proper color mixes, especially if you're working with an existing brand color palette. Number 2 is no extraneous fonts that you meant to replace from their Word document, for example, or you're having tried out some fonts in the process, that you're not using any fonts that you didn't intend to. Number 3 is check that photos are the proper resolution. You definitely don't want to wait until the last minute to check this, only to have to ask the client, right before printing if they have a higher resolution image. Number 4, check photos have been adjusted for color and brightness. So if you've got a whole bunch of muddy or dark photos in the layout, you want to make sure that you fix them up a little bit. And of course, if this is just a first draft and you're not even sure if you're going to be using those photos, so either make a note to explain it or, just go ahead and take care of that if it makes sense to do that. And then number 5, check that your Photoshop work is clean. And again, if it's kind of a rough draft and you're putting something together just to get the design approved and you're going to touch it up later, just make a note, just tell them that. Now, the second set of checks relate to the content. So you want to compare the content that's in your layout file against the original file and content that they sent you. So number 6, you want to check the hierarchy of headings. So does the hierarchy of headings in your layout match what's in their Word document? In other words, is this level of subhead the same as this one? And if there's another subhead below that one, does that match what it should in your document? Of course, sometimes they get these all messed up because they don't use styles in Word, so it can be difficult to determine, which heading they actually do want to have, because they end up all looking the same. Number 7 is you want to check for text that should have formatting, okay? So bold, italics, superscript, subscript, etc. So if they've got any of that kind of formatting in their Word file and it's supposed to be in the layout, you want to make sure that that gets conveyed. Number 8 is to check for text that should be in a bulleted or numbered list. Number 9 is to check for proper typographic marks. And if you missed it, please check out episode 31, all about typographic marks. And what I'm talking about with typographic marks are, using proper N and M dashes instead of hyphens where they should be, and using an ellipsis instead of 3 dots, for example. So check out episode 31 if you missed that. Number 10 is check that any images that should have been included in the layout weren't left out. And number 11 is, check for sidebars and pull quotes that they might have had, that those are included if they should be. Number 12 is check that hyperlinks are visually styled if it's a digital-only document and not a print file. So when you're creating a PDF that's going to be shared via email or downloaded from a website, that's an interactive PDF, so you want to make sure that those hyperlinks are clickable. Number 13 is check that hyperlinks are actually functional and have been checked in InDesign's Hyperlinks panel to make sure that none are broken. So the Hyperlinks panel will show you with a green light or a red light if the link is broken or if it is a valid link. Number 14 is check that footnotes and endnotes are included. Number 15 is check that any Greek or mathematical symbols show up properly. So I work on a lot of publications that have these kinds of symbols, and they're medical and scientific in nature. And so I've always got to go back into the Word document and go through and make sure that wherever those symbols show up, they're the same in my layout file. And sometimes what happens is that clients use the wrong character in Word, and they're using a font instead of the actual Unicode character, so it doesn't come across properly in your layout file. And so speaking of layout, the third set of checks is layout related, and number 16 is that you want to check each page for widows and orphans. And by that I mean you want to go through your document and you want to check that no single word appears on a line by itself, and that no single line of a paragraph sits up at the top of a page by itself. Number 17 is if you've got a table of contents in your document, you want to make sure that you update that so that it is accurate. Number 18 is you want to have checked your spelling at some point. So if you do live spell check throughout the process, that's fine. Otherwise, you can run a spell check at the end, but you want to make sure that that's been done at some point. So I want to hear from you. So what do you think of my list? Is there anything else that you would check for? Let me know by emailing me at info@creative-boost.com or posting under the episode at creative-boost.com or on YouTube or in the Design Domination Facebook group. And yes, I just put up the YouTube channel this week, so I hope you'll hop on over there and subscribe to that. If you liked this content, please leave a review and share it on social media. Do you need help enhancing your design skills or working through a freelancing issue? Go to creative-boost.com to apply for design mentoring. Also check out the free resources and join us in the Design Domination Facebook group.